So you've seen the content about wholesaling and you're wondering, is this still real in 2025? Is it too late? Is it legal? Is it even worth it? My wholesale team has made over $700,000 so far this year wholesaling real estate. And once again, I am here to tell you the truth, the real truth about what it takes, what works, and what doesn't anymore. Let's get into it. All right, truth number one, we have to get this one out of the way. Wholesaling is different in every single state. The laws vary by state. Some states require a license. Some states require disclosures. The contracts are written differently. Some states are escrow versus attorney states. And even some of the marketing methods I've noticed are different in each and every state. So the very first mistake, and I see this all the time just in our market in Washington, very first mistake wholesalers make is when they just see stuff online and they try to apply it in their market without doing any research on local laws and marketing. So number one, it's very, very important that you understand your state's local laws. We all have to follow the rules no matter what. The reality is, to find wholesale deals, there are only a handful of ways and some work better in some states than others. But the best thing to do to shortcut all of the learning that you have to do is to find someone local, like a mentor or a local wholesaler or even a flipper or just regular investor who can help you understand what the local laws are and how to do it right. And you can also go on off-market marketplaces like Investor Lift to see the wholesalers who are actually posting up their deals. Reach out to them, say, hey, I'm getting into this game. Could you ever be open to helping me understand the local laws so that I do this right? And I'm happy to JV my first couple deals with you, because you got to give value to get value. You know what I mean? Number two on wholesaling in 2025, and this kind of goes hand in hand with understanding your local market. Wholesaling is not just a side hustle, my friends. This is a very real, very problem-filled business. And by problem-filled, I mean there is a lot of real estate knowledge you need to know and understand to execute your first few deals. It is not as simple as pulling a list or going driving for dollars and putting an offer on the table and wrapping up the deal. This is why I highly suggest you find someone local to do your first couple deals with, because these people are going to help you evaluate the deals, understand the seller's situation. They'll help you with the right paperwork, connect you with an investor-friendly escrow company, and help you with all the roadblocks that come up with these transactions. Because remember, these are real houses that we are transacting, real $500,000 investments that people have owned for 30, 40 years. We have to treat these people and these transactions with ethics and care. Like I said, I'm in Washington State, where the houses we deal with are anywhere from $300,000 to $2 million. I don't work a small market where the houses are $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. I think that is a very different game when you're wholesaling in your local market. And for a lot of us, that's in a major metro, like I'm in Seattle, LA, Houston, Dallas, New York City, whatever. If you're dealing in a market where the houses are more than $100,000, you're going to have to deal with people. It's a different game, because instead of pulling 1K, 2K, 5K fees over here, we're ripping 10, 50, 100K fees for someone to transact with you on this investment that has cost them their whole lives to build, basically. You need to build a level of trust with these sellers. It's very much a people and relationships business. As a wholesaler in a major market, I am in the service business. It's not as simple as just contracting deals over the phone. I am very much going to these people's houses, sitting with them, talking with them, hearing their stories. I go in as a real estate professional, a local advisor. I help them with their selling options. I'm not just looking to throw a cash offer at them. And so if my cash offer aligns with their goals with the property, great, we have a transaction. If not, we just move on to the next. So it's just very, very important that you treat this like a business. The wholesalers who treat it like a business and as professionals are the ones who win. Truth number three for wholesaling in 2025. Networking is your shortcut in this business. Wholesaling is a very, very small world. Once you start putting your deals up on Facebook and everybody recognizes your name, and you show up to these investor events and you're interested in other people, you shoot the shit, you make friends with other wholesalers, with lenders, investors, real estate agents, the more people that you know and who know that you are out there finding deals, the more business you do. Point blank, period. Coming into this business, I was very, very introverted. If you watch my videos from like 5 years ago when I started in real estate, I didn't know anything. I was very introverted, and I hated the idea that you needed to build a network to grow your business. It always felt very fake, very like, oh, I need to rub elbows with people. It didn't feel good to feel like we have to use each other to make money. And it's so funny because while I was putting myself out there and going to these meetups and joining mentorship groups and hitting up investors to see if they were interested in my deals. I'm still in my head like, man, I don't want anyone to think that I'm just trying to use them to get ahead, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I'm making all kinds of friends. Like I'd go to a meetup, meet a bunch of people, and then we'd all end up getting drinks after and talking about business and life and what our goals are and how we can work together. And it was all very, very natural. And I think it was largely the effect of, like I said, putting myself out there, being interested in other people and the value they might have is what takes you to that next level and really create those relationships that will come in handy in the future. Like there are so many times where I've been at a meetup and they're like, yeah, I'm buying in Seattle and Federal Way and Renton. Like here's my areas. And then I come across a deal in one of those areas and I hit them up because I remember I'm like, hey, are you still buying over here? And they're like, yeah, what do you got? And even if they don't buy my deal, they give me valuable insight. They tell me, oh no, yeah, that street, people don't like that one because it's close to the busy road. This area has a lot of septic systems and they cost $40,000 to replace. All these little valuable bits of knowledge that we just soak in as a result of making friends. So networking still works in 2025. I hate the term networking. Maybe we just need to rebrand the word, but building relationships, being intentional with who you are aligning yourself with, and most importantly, following your gut. If you feel like this person does not align to your values and your mission in your business or in your life or whatever it is, you get to minimize your interaction with that person and move on to find the people who do align. Alrighty, number 4, I think we need to talk about our systems now. Vena, how do you actually find deals in 2025? It's still the good old tried and true. Check out my other videos on how to build your systems. We still use the same stuff in 2025. I've been running a wholesale team for 4 years now, and we still get our list from Property Radar, just built before 1990, owned for 20 plus years. It's funny because it just hasn't changed. We still pull this list in Washington State. Our areas have grown. You can only call the same list so many times. So we actually work probably an 80 to 100 mile radius. You have to go far and wide to build a wholesale business, my friends. If we focus only city of Seattle, we probably would not do as many deals. So we still use Property Radar for our lists. We use Enzo Dialer for dialing. So we take the list out of Property Radar, we plug it into Enzo Dialer. Enzo has been a game changer. I actually probably have talked about other dialers like Call Tools or Mojo in past videos, but in 2025 and beyond, with Enzo Dialer, let me just tell you, we are hitting about 50 contacts per hour. So we're having really like 40 to 50 conversations per hour with Enzo Dialer. With Call Tools and Mojo, we were having like 15 to 30. So we're literally doubling our output. Here in August 2025, which is hopefully when this video will get up, we have closed 23 wholesale deals, which is as many as we closed in all of 2024. And it's because we added Enzo Dialer at the end of 2024. So it's almost quite literally doubling our output. Property Radar and Enzo is all you need. Everything else like CRM, phone system, whatever, everything else can be free. Like Google Sheets you can use for CRM. I'm a big fan of Monday.com. I do have a video coming out soon for how we use Monday as a CRM. But tried and true, those are the only two you need to build a wholesale business. A lot of our incoming leads also come from other wholesalers, from building my local presence. We also have real estate agents who bring us deals. Like they'll have a seller who wants to sell the property. They don't really want to list it for whatever reason, or there's just too much work to be done. So they say, hey, no, I've got this girl. She buys houses for cash. They connect me to the seller and the agent gets their commission. Everybody's happy. And then open letter marketing postcards and handwritten letters. Those are our main 5 or 4. The old-fashioned methods still work, but guess what? Every other wholesaler in your city is also doing these methods. So how do you set yourself apart? This brings us to truth number 5. This is a people business. Have I said that in this video yet? The best wholesalers, they do not just run numbers and lay cash offers down. They read people. They listen to the problem. They provide a set of solutions. They answer their phone. They respond to texts and emails. Really, the bar is on the floor, my friends, for quality wholesalers. You might not think it. Like if you're new and you're getting into wholesaling, you might be thinking, oh, but there's other big wholesalers in my market. This is so saturated, blah, blah, blah. It's competition. No. Honestly, if you show up to your seller appointment, you talk to your seller and you're a good person and you listen and you're kind and patient and you don't pressure them, you are already setting yourself apart. I can't stress this enough. And you're not going to understand it until you do it. And you hear the stories from your sellers of other wholesalers who didn't call back, showed up to the house but didn't make an offer, tried to slam them into a bad deal. The list goes on. It is so incredibly important to put yourself in the seller's shoes because the cash offer is not for everybody. Out of 10 sellers who are selling their house, just period, 9 of them are going to list with an agent. This is the traditional way to get top dollar. You put your house on the market. 1 out of 10 are going to sell off the market, whether it's to a family member, whether it's through a wholesaler, whether it's direct to the investor. 1 out of 10 home sales in America are off the market. And so we are looking for these 1 in 10 sellers. And in case you haven't noticed, out of the 10 sellers that you actually find through your marketing efforts, only 1 of them will be interested in actually selling off the market. And then your conversion rate determines how many of those who are willing to sell off the market actually contract and close with you. For us, it's about half of our sellers. So out of 100 people who we call and they all said, yes, I am going to sell at some point, 10 of them are going to be interested in selling off the market and 5 of them are going to actually turn into a deal. So then you have to think about how many cold calls does it take to find an interested seller to get to the seller who's going to sell off the market to turn into a deal. The numbers for us boil down to about 1 in 2,500 cold conversations with homeowners off the market. And if you call 50 people a day, that would be 50 days to get your deal. And with that, 1 in 10 sellers are selling off the market. There's a specific reason, right? I get the question all the time, Vena, why are they doing the cash offer with you? Can't they just list on market and get top dollar? Yeah, they can. They know they can. But every single time there is a strong motivation to sell directly to a cash buyer. And we usually hear it on the cold call. They're like, yeah, when I sell, I'm going to sell direct to a cash offer. I don't want to put it on the market. Literally, they tell us that. Most times it's ease, it's convenience. They don't want to work with realtors. They don't want to pay fees. They want the price they're selling for to be the price they take home, essentially. In 99% of our offers, the only thing the seller is responsible for is excise tax. We don't charge them anything else. And we have the buyer take care of closing costs. And so the price we put on the contract is what they take home after that excise tax is about 2% in Washington. The cash offer is not for everyone. We are definitely looking for a specific type of seller, but we only find that seller when we actually ask the right questions and have these conversations with them where we care about what their goals are with the property and what they plan to do and how we can help them do it. And if we can't help them do it, we just move on. Most of our conversations with sellers are ones that do not turn into a deal. But our job as the wholesaler is to have all of these conversations with sellers to find the one that turns into a deal. Remember, in wholesaling, you don't need a license in most states. You don't need any prior experience or education. That's in every state. You don't need money to close the deals. You don't need to put down earnest money. You don't need to flip the house. All we're doing is we're connecting the investor to a good deal. And that is through having all these conversations with all these sellers until we find the one who is motivated to sell off the market and realistic on their pricing so that they sell at a price that an investor could pay for. We work our fee into the price, investor gets a good deal, everybody's happy. That is the purest form of wholesaling. We found the seller, we did the hard work, we put so many dollars and man hours into marketing. We are earning our money through our business. Period. And lastly, if you're starting your wholesale business in 2025, you do not need to know everything. There are federal and state regulations and legislation coming into place regarding wholesaling because there are a lot of scammy wholesalers running around breaking the rules, scamming elderly people out of their homes. They're making the rest of us look bad, and they are the reason that there is regulation cracking down. And ultimately, this is all to protect the consumer, the homeowner, which is a good thing. And I really can't believe that I'm hearing experienced wholesalers say, when these new laws come into place, we're shut down, we're done, da-da-da. You cannot replace the service called the easy off-market cash offer. You cannot force every seller to list their house on the market. You cannot stop someone who owns their property in America from selling to whoever they want. Yes, we've got new rules coming in, but if you remember that the off-market cash offer is a service, then you can figure out how to make it happen no matter what kind of rules come down. But if you are interested in getting into the game in 2025, it's totally possible. Anyone can do it. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be dropping a lot more wholesale and real estate content. Check out my resources and content below. I've got all the playbooks on how to set up your operation and I'll see you in the next one.